Hello and welcome to the Red Phone Zone. I am Ethan, and today on Confessions of, it's going to be a good Confessions of a Comic Book Snob with me, obviously. As you may have known, I've getting back into comic books, and I haven't really read any of the new stuff this week, but I have had a chance to go back and read some of the old stuff to sort of get my primer and get my chops up on the DC universe. Obviously, we're getting Aaron back into reading some Marvel. I'm doing my best to do that, and he's getting me back into some DC in probably close to 10 years. Wanting to know what the heck was going on, I went ahead and I have gone back and read a few of the some of the little landmark series of the DC universe. I had already read Crisis on Infinite Earths way back when, not when it came out, but I read it a few years ago in collection form. So I went back and I read Infinite Crisis. Actually, before that, I read Identity Crisis. Now, Identity Crisis came out in 2002, 2003. It was a while back, and it centers around the murder of Ralph Dinby, who is the Elongated Man, his wife, Sue Dibney, excuse me. And I don't want to give it all away, but it's a great story. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace to see basically all of the superhero community in that story come together in support of basically all their loved ones, saying, you know, someone is targeting our loved ones. We have to do something about this, and sort of see what they did and what they essentially what some of the Justice League members had to do in order to protect their family, and sort of the lengths that they'd go to. It was interesting, and to see where different people stood and different people were on different situations, and the fallout that would come from that. Really got attached to Dibney and to Sue, his wife that died. You get really attached to a lot of characters in that. It's a very good series. I highly recommend Identity Crisis. Now, moving on from that was Infinite Crisis, was the next big Crisis event, and it was written by Jeff Johns. And it came out in 2004, 2005, something like that, maybe 2006, I can't remember. But it revolved around, it had a lot more connections to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, with the return of Superboy Prime, old Superman, and Alexander Luthor from that original series, plus the old Lois. And sort of putting them into a villain role as far as recreating the multiverse, and of course basically trying to find Earth Prime and the original Earth, and just basically destroying everything else and recreating reality. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It was well done, well written, well drawn. The great part about it is how they sort of cast Superboy Prime as just basically going from this I have these altruistic intentions, and but I'm also batshit crazy. So he goes off on those little tangents, and the rest of the characters sort of are there, and I really enjoy basically how the story sort of unweaves, and how Alexander Luthor sort of plays everyone against themselves. And I got to say, my favorite part of the whole series is the very end, because early on in the series, the Joker is all kind of pissed off and offended because he hasn't been asked to join this new society of evil that has been floating around that someone is making, and that comes back to bite Alexander Luthor in the ass at the end, because, well, he's the Joker. I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was very well done. Right after that, I read 52, because apparently after Infinite Crisis, the comic books that started up right after that, there was a year gap, basically because during the course of Infinite Crisis, Superman pretty much lost his powers for that year, because he had to fly through a field of kryptonite and go through a red sun while he and old Superman were trying to stop Superboy. And that drained his power, and he had to recharge for quite some time, understandably so. And Batman went off to sort of recenter himself, and took Tim with him Tim and Dick Grayson with him, to try to basically rehone his abilities and whatnot, and kill his demons, that sort of thing, and basically be a better Batman. And then the Flash at the end of the Infinite Crisis, the Flash had lost his powers. The only Flash that still had his powers was, I believe, Jay Garrick, the original Flash, but they were greatly reduced because apparently during Infinite Crisis they had to run so fast that they drained the Speed Force, or they broke the Speed Force, but obviously that gets fixed later. And Wonder Woman, who was sort of controlled by being manipulated by Luthor and various others, killed someone on national television and decided to basically find out what it was to be human and be Diana for a year instead of being Wonder Woman, and so she goes off to do that. But 52 centers around a lot of the sort of the B-list, C-list heroes, even with Booster Gold and others. Booster Gold's probably the main storyline, although I really enjoyed the Black Adam story in there. Black Adam, of course, being the villain from the Captain Marvel family. He starts out as being a very unlikable character and very, very nasty, very evil, and he goes through a very interesting story arc, throughout the 52 issues, and those issues came out weekly, so it was a whole year. And it had some interesting bits with time travel in there, and the Lex Luthor clearing his name, as it were, and then basically his fall from grace again. I liked how he developed this metahuman project that started giving people superpowers that he could just turn off on a button, and the Reign, R-E-I-G-N, instead of R-E-I-G-N, the Reign, R-A-I-N, of the Superman on the New Year's issue was entertaining. And of course all that comes back to bite Luthor in the butt later, with Steel coming back and doing his business and creating Steel Works and all that. It was a good story. I highly recommend 52. It was very very well done. It's written by Grant Morrison, Jeff Johns, Mark Waid, and I can't remember the last guy's name. I think it's Luck or something like that. Anyway, after 52, however, we end up with sort of a lead-in after that was Countdown, and I skipped that because everyone had told me the proper name for it was Crackdown, so I decided that was probably not worthy of my attention. Moved on to Final Crisis, which was written by Grant Morrison, and I couldn't have been more disappointed. The writing in it is sort of okay. I think ultimately it suffers from bad editorial. It came out in 2007 from DC, and sort of it has an epic scope. It deals with Darkseid returning and finding the anti-life equation and basically controlling 3 billion people on the planet, and basically starting this giant apocalypse on Earth, killing the new gods, and just basically being Darkseid as Darkseid is. I think it's ultimate. As I was reading it, it just seems so disjointed, and really it was, we're going to give you these little snippets, and if you want to know it isn't like, it wasn't told like how I like the stories to be told, like in the event books. I've only read the 7 event books, like in Siege or Civil War or something, where you read that and it makes sense, it's a good story, and it's self-contained, but there are little peaks you get here and there of stuff that if you want to know more, you can go learn extra about, Captain America, all those guys. However, in Final Crisis, it seems like you're reading it, and to get the full story, it seems like you're required to go buy these, 10, 20, 30 other comic books to get the full story of, what Flash is doing, what the story is with the Flash, what Batman's off doing, what Superman randomly disappears off to. And I really thought that's just bad editorial, that's just bad writing, and you just don't do that because not everyone can afford to buy all that stuff, and I'm certainly not going to go hunt it all down. I found after reading the first issue and a half, I was very, very much fighting the urge to just go read a synopsis online and continue on, but I decided to grit my teeth and go through it. And it has its moments, but ultimately it was such a letdown after reading Infinite Crisis and 52. It was just such a sort of like deflating the balloon, It's like, oh, and this is what you're building up to. This is it. Okay, not much. not too happy with that. Obviously the big thing that happens in Final Crisis, spoiler alert, is Batman dies after shooting, that's right, shooting Darkseid. And really, that whole business was kind of like, okay, that could have been an interesting story element. It could have been something cool to see if they had sort of built up to it and had a bit more going on. But there was just too much going on in Final Crisis for really anything to make sense. So ultimately, I gotta give Final Crisis a big final thumbs down. I'm not sure what I want to read next. Probably catch up on a few, probably Green Lantern Corps and some other things. So working up to Blackest Night, obviously. So that's my review of Identity Crisis, Infinite Crisis, 52, and Final Crisis. So a big crisis today on the Red Phone Zone. Thank you for joining me.